Do you know the name of this block? Sometimes it's called Mary's Triangles, sometimes it's called the Shaded 4-Patch, and sometimes it's called Brave New World. It can be a standalone block or a foundation piece for a bigger block. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make these fast and easy 8 at a time. So stick with me and I'll show you how to do it. Hi, I'm Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. I give you tips, tricks, and strategies to help you make the quilt that you want to make. So I know I'm speaking to the choir when I say life is busy. I mean, December is just such a crazy month for all of us. On top of our regular jobs and our regular duties, we also have all the holiday planning to deal with. So on Wednesday, my body just told me enough. And I had to make the decision, no video this week. So I was being good, sitting down, just relaxing, when one of my subscribers asked me, did I know a better, faster way to make this block? It was just the perfect puzzle for that moment. It was the right place at the right time, and my brain went right down the rabbit hole. Let me show you what I found out. So when this block is made up of 3 colors, it's called Mary's Triangles. When it's made up of 2, it's called a Shaded 4-Patch. So if you look up the directions on how to make this block, they'll tell you it takes 3 squares. One of them we cut in half, and the other one we cut in half, and we only use one part. So we sew 1/2 square triangle to the side and the other one to the bottom. And then we sew this to the large 1/2 square triangle. You can see that the white 1/2 square triangles are easily distorted. So it's really important that you understand that you need to sew through the intersection of these 3 pieces. And after the final press, you still need to take off these dog ears, and it looks like it needs a squaring up. So I racked my brain trying to come up with a better way, and this is what I came up with. My examples are going to be for a 4-inch finished block. But on my website, I'm going to have a chart for everything from 1 inch to 10 inches. So you need 3 pieces of fabric, one 2.5 inches by 5 inches, one 3.5 inches by 5 inches, and one 5.5 inches by 4.5 inches. Take the first 2 pieces and sew them together on one side. Press, then cut the big piece into 2 2.5 by 5.5 inch pieces. Flip one of the pieces around and then sew with the 2 right sides together. Before you press, you want to snip right in the middle here so that one side can go up and the other side can be pressed down. Next, we take our large rectangle and we place our newly sewn rectangle on top. And we are marking 2 45-degree sew lines. The left sewing line intersects the bottom corner and the bottom of the left block. The right sewing line intersects the top right corner and the top corner of right block. I find this easiest to do by using my cutting mat. I mark the bottom corner at the intersection where the 45 meets a vertical line. Then I use my ruler and just follow the 45. And mark it on there. You want to be sure that your line goes through the intersection of these seams. Then spin it around and do it on the other side. Alternatively, you can use the 45 on your ruler and aligning it on the vertical, use the edge to mark your sewing line. Then sew on your 2 marked lines. You can see we're getting close to the end. Just cut in between the 2 lines, press, and voila, you have 2 blocks. And other than clearing off one dog ear, they're pretty darn perfect. Now, when I went looking online for the name of this block, I found out that this method has already been thought up by other people. It's so funny, right down to snipping that seam in the middle before you iron it. Again, I took 4 hours to come up with a method that's already been invented. But I did not see anyone with this method of doing 8 at once. So we need fabric in 3 different colors. For the fabric that will be the square, we need 3 strips, 2 2.5 and 1 5-inch. For the background HSTs, we also need 3 strips, 2 at 3.5 inches, 1 at 7 inches. And for the large HST, you need a 9-inch strip. Sew the 2 C's to the B, then cut a piece at 5 inches. Then sew the A strips to strip D. Then cut 2 pieces at 2.5 inches. Then sew the 2 narrow strips to the top and the bottom of the wide strip. You should have a piece 11 inches by 9 inches. So just as in the ×2 method, you need to snip these little spots so that when you press them, it will press the right way. Cut one 11-inch piece from the E strip. Cover this rectangle with your pieced rectangle. Then mark your sewing lines. The outer sewing lines will intersect the midpoint on the sides of the block and the corners of the outer squares. The inner sewing lines will intersect the midpoint on the top and the bottom and the corners of the inner square. If I'm doing a lot of marking of the same thing, I will make myself a jig. I've made this one out of cardboard. This is actually just made from cereal boxes stuck together. I make the inner cutout the same size as my square. And I have reference points for my sewing lines already marked on the outer frame. So it's quick work to transfer those lines to my blocks. Cut the block into 4 equal quarters. Then cut between the 2 sewing lines. And like magic, you have 8 finished blocks. Now, I'll be honest, I was a skeptic going in. Sometimes these shortcuts, they're so fiddly that they're in the end that they're not much of a shortcut. But I was really incredibly surprised, 1 at the accuracy and 2 how quickly they were done. So I'm recommending this highly. Now just a couple of other points. When you put 4 of these blocks together and spin them like a pinwheel, it's called Brave New World. And when you add an extra triangle to the corner, it's called Bird in the Air. And now you know how to make a lot of them fast. Head over to Prequilt and plug the block in and take it for a test drive. I have a couple of videos that will help you succeed with this technique. A really good ironing technique, how to sew straight, and how to make the perfect HST. So I'm going to make a playlist of them over here on the side. And on my website, Just Get It Done Quilts, under Patterns, I will have the reference sheet for both methods, 2 at a time and 8 at a time. Now, the length of the strips that you cut just depends on how many squares you're going to make. So thank you for coming down the rabbit hole with me. Thank you, Samantha Ray, for sending in the question. Maybe this should be a series like Ask Karen. Anyways, a thought for the new year. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell if you want to be notified when I make new videos. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Just Get It Done Quilts. So take care, and I'll see you next time.